Armando's heart raced, realizing too late this wasn't just playtime, it was an eternal trap. With all his might, he ran back toward home as their voices echoed hauntingly behind him. "Stay with us!" Bursting through his front door at dawn light made him realize he'd narrowly escaped becoming part of their ghostly games, a lesson learned about curiosity gone awry. When Maria inherited an old camera from her late grandmother, she felt a spark of nostalgia. Curious about its history, she decided to take it on a walk through the nearby cemetery, a place where memories lingered and whispers danced in the wind. As she snapped photos, something strange began to happen. Each picture developed revealed shadows behind her, faces twisted in agony. In one shot, a woman with hollow eyes reached out as if pleading for help. Intrigued, yet terrified, Maria researched the cemetery's past and discovered that decades ago, tragedy struck here. Fire during left many souls trapped between worlds. She realized these were their faces, frozen in despair. Determined to set them free, Maria returned at midnight with offerings of flowers and candles. As she laid them down near an ancient oak tree, known for harboring lost spirits, the air thickened with tension. The temperature dropped as dark figures emerged from the shadows. "Help us!" they cried in unison. Heart pounding wildly but fueled by compassion, Maria held up the camera again and took another photo, this time capturing their essence glowing brightly against darkness. The next morning brought silence. No more cries echoed among tombstones. The camera lay still beside her on the grass, a reminder of what had been achieved, but also what could never be unseen. In the dusty attic of her grandmother's house, Quinn discovered an ornate portrait draped in a moth-eaten cloth. The painting depicted a woman with piercing blue eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, Quinn decided to hang it in her room. At first, nothing happened until one stormy night when she awoke to whispers echoing through the walls. "Help me," they pleaded softly, sending chills down her spine. Driven by curiosity and fear, Quinn researched the artist and uncovered tragic tales of lost love linked to the portrait's subject, Eliza. Each night grew darker as Eliza's sorrow seeped into Quinn's dreams. She saw visions of love turned violent and betrayal carved deeply into canvas strokes. One evening, while tracing the outline of Eliza's face with trembling fingers, something shifted within the painting. A hand reached out. In terror yet compassion for this trapped soul, Quinn listened closely as Eliza revealed a heartbreaking truth. She had been betrayed by someone close just before dying mysteriously. Determined not to let history repeat itself, Quinn vowed to free Eliza from this torment. She gathered family members who once wronged each other over misunderstandings and held a heartfelt reconciliation ceremony under moonlight beside the haunted portrait. As they spoke their truths aloud for forgiveness on that fateful night, warmth enveloped them all, in turn freeing both souls intertwined forever by pain. In the heart of a forgotten town stood Hollow Creek High, its once vibrant halls now cloaked in shadows. Each student whispered tales of Sarah, the ghostly child who roamed the corridors searching for her lost doll. When Jonah transferred there, he heard her story and felt an inexplicable pull to uncover the truth. One rainy afternoon, as thunder rumbled overhead, Jonah stumbled upon a hidden door behind a dusty bookshelf in the library. Inside lay artifacts from decades past. Among them was a delicate porcelain doll with haunting blue eyes. As he picked it up, whispers filled the air, a cacophony of voices urging him to release Sarah from her eternal search. Determined yet frightened, Jonah gathered his friends, Morgan and Alden. They held hands in a circle around Sarah's doll and began to chant softly, hoping to bring peace to her restless spirit. Suddenly, lights flickered wildly as cold winds swirled around them. Just when they thought they had succeeded, Jonah noticed something chilling. The doll's eyes glowed ominously as Sarah appeared before them, now a specter adorned with sadness rather than malice. With tears streaming down her translucent cheeks, she pointed toward an old photograph on the wall. It showed her playing happily at school long ago before tragedy struck. Realizing that forgetting history dooms its spirits forever, they vowed never to let anyone forget Sarah again. In a small town nestled between dark mountains lived a girl named Clara. One day, while exploring an old attic, she stumbled upon an ornate music box covered in dust. Its delicate carvings whispered secrets of the past. Intrigued, Clara wound it up and listened as haunting notes floated through the air like a ghostly lullaby. But soon after hearing its melody, strange events began to unfold. The townsfolk started disappearing one by one. First, her neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, who always told tales of his youth. Then little Timmy from down the street, who loved playing hide and seek. Panic set in when Clara realized that each time she played the music box, someone vanished without a trace. Determined to stop it, she returned to the attic for answers and discovered letters hidden behind cobwebs. They belonged to Sarah, a previous owner cursed by the very tune that now echoed in Clara's home. The letters spoke of sorrow and loss, but also revealed how love could break curses if shared sincerely. With newfound resolve, Clara played the melody again, but this time envisioned every lost soul returning home. Her heart poured into every note. As she finished playing, shadows flickered before her eyes, and one by one they returned. Mr. Jenkins with his warm smile and Timmy giggling joyfully. Clara learned that sometimes facing fears head-on can bring back what was thought lost forever. And not all melodies are meant to haunt us. When Julian and his friends stumbled upon the decrepit carnival on the outskirts of town, they were both curious and excited. The once vibrant colors had faded into eerie shades of gray, yet an unsettling energy hummed in the air. "Let's explore," Julian urged, drawing them deeper into the labyrinth of rusting rides and broken booths. As they ventured further, laughter echoed faintly in the distance, a joyful sound that felt out of place among shadows. They found a dusty clown statue with hollow eyes that seemed to follow their every move. "What if it's haunted?" whispered Emmett, shivering despite himself. But when a sudden gust rattled the Ferris wheel overhead, daring him to continue, he pressed on. As night fell, flickering lights began to illuminate the carnival grounds, inviting but menacing. Suddenly, they spotted figures darting behind stalls. Thin silhouettes with grotesque grins danced just beyond reach. Panic set in as one figure lunged forward, a ghostly jester with jagged teeth who cackled madly. They ran blindly through twisting paths until they reached what appeared to be an old ticket booth where whispers filled their ears. A warning, or perhaps an invitation? Julian realized too late that they'd awakened something ancient within those grounds. Spirits trapped by forgotten joy now sought new playmates for eternity. In desperate fear, he grabbed Emmett's hand tightly as they sprinted towards freedom. The haunting laughter echoing behind them still reverberated long after they escaped. Every night when the clock struck 3, Brooks awoke drenched in sweat, his heart racing. Each dream felt more vivid than the last, a shadowy figure lurking at the edge of a foggy forest, whispering secrets that chilled him to his bones. It was no longer just a nightmare. He could feel its presence creeping into reality. One evening, he decided to confront it. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and sheer determination, he ventured into the woods behind his house. As darkness enveloped him, shadows twisted unnaturally around trees like fingers reaching for him. Suddenly, an icy breath brushed against his neck, and Brooks turned to find himself face to face with the nightmare. A sinister grin stretched across its face. "You shouldn't have come here," it hissed. In that moment of paralyzing fear, Brooks remembered something from childhood. Nightmares lose their power once confronted. Gathering all his courage, he shouted back at it. "You are not real. You are just my fear." With each word spoken aloud, the figure shrank before him until it dissolved into mist. The oppressive weight lifted from Brooks's chest as dawn broke through the trees. He had faced what haunted him most and emerged unscathed. From then on, whenever dreams threatened to spill over into reality again, he'd remind himself, true monsters can only exist if you allow them space in your mind.
Under the pale glow of the crescent moon, a wandering minstrel named Elian strode into the quiet village of Brindlewood. His lute, battered yet beloved, rested against his back, its strings worn from countless journeys. Tales had traveled ahead of him, whispering of a song once sung here, a melody so powerful it healed broken hearts and mended shattered hopes. Yet no one remembered its tune, only fragments of stories passed down through hushed voices. In the town square, villagers gathered, drawn by Elian's gentle chords that floated through the cool night air. He played familiar ballads, but their eyes held longing for something more, a spark they could not name. Elian closed his eyes, letting intuition guide his fingers across the strings. Slowly, a forgotten sequence emerged. Notes that shimmered like morning dew, delicate yet full of life. As the melody unfurled, a hush swept the crowd. Flowers bloomed in the cracks of the cobblestones, laughter returned to tired faces, and ailing children found strength to dance once more. When the final note faded into the night, Brindlewood felt whole again, as if a long-lost piece of its soul had been restored. Elian smiled softly, knowing the ancient magic of the melody was alive once more, carried on the wind for those willing to listen and believe.
In the quiet town of Eldridge, whispers filled the air each night as darkness fell. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about a ghostly figure, known only as Ilara, the phantom dancer. Legend said that those who glimpsed her would be cursed to dance until their last breath. One fateful evening, curious and defiant, young Cairo decided to uncover the truth behind the legend. As he wandered through an abandoned theater shrouded in cobwebs and shadows, Cairo felt an inexplicable pull towards the stage. Suddenly, the lights flickered on, revealing Ilara's ethereal form gliding gracefully across it. Her eyes locked onto his with an intensity that sent chills down his spine. "Join me," she beckoned softly, her voice like a haunting melody. Cairo felt compelled to step forward, but hesitated. "What happens if I do?" Ilara smiled sadly. "You must keep dancing." With a swift motion of her hand, music erupted from nowhere. Its enchanting rhythm ensnared him completely. As he began to sway uncontrollably beside her spirit form, panic gripped his heart. This was no simple dance. With every spin and twirl under Ilara's mesmerizing gaze, time slipped away. Finally realizing this was not just folklore, but a reality woven into despair for all who witnessed it, he fought back against her charm. "I won't let you take me," Cairo shouted defiantly before breaking free from her grasp and fleeing into darkness. Evelyn had always been a light sleeper, but that night was different. The phone rang at exactly midnight, its shrill tones slicing through the silence of her small apartment. Hesitant yet curious, she picked it up. "You're in danger," a raspy voice whispered before the line went dead. Heart racing, she dismissed it as a prank. But then it happened again, night after night. Each call brought more details, someone watching her from the shadows outside her window, chilling laughter echoing down the hallways of her mind. Desperate for answers, Evelyn confided in Theo, her neighbor with an odd fascination for urban legends. He believed every tale had truth buried within. He told stories of people driven mad by nightly calls predicting their demise. On the seventh night, fear paralyzed Evelyn as she clutched her phone tightly in bed. The ringing came again, a relentless reminder of impending doom. When she answered this time, silence enveloped her like a shroud, until finally the voice returned. "Tonight is your last chance to escape." Panicking now and feeling trapped in a nightmare not even Theo could help with, she bolted to find him only to discover his door ajar, and inside lay his lifeless body staring wide-eyed into space. The realization hit hard. They were never meant to survive this twisted game together. The caller had chosen tonight as their final curtain call.
Under a crescent moon, the desert air shimmered with secrets. Silas, tending his cattle by lantern light, caught a glimpse of movement beyond the saguaros. A woman, draped in a cloak the color of midnight, approached. Her steps were silent, her gaze steady as the stars above. "You're far from any road," Silas called, suspicion lacing his words. She smiled, revealing a flash of silver at her throat, a pendant shaped like a blooming cactus flower. "I'm searching for something lost," she replied, voice soft but unwavering. Intrigued despite himself, Silas offered her water and a seat by the fire. As embers danced, she spoke of dreams and omens, of storms that could bring